Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Tracy Harris, and this is At Home in My Head, the podcast that explores experience and meaning and their impact on individuals and the broader society. Today I want to talk about a film, Jordan Peele's sci-fi feature, Nope. I'm not going to pull any punches here. I'm doing a deep dive into themes that will contain all the spoilers. If you're considering watching it and you hate spoilers, then this episode is not for you. Go and watch it and then come back. If you aren't interested in watching it, this episode isn't about changing your mind. Not everyone likes every movie, every genre. And if Nope is the sort of movie that you're not interested in, you can still appreciate this breakdown and not sit through a movie that isn't what you're into. If you're in the other two categories, someone who's already seen it or someone planning on watching it who doesn't care about spoilers, then sit back and enjoy the analysis. Before going further, let me just note that I personally found the graphic representation of the aliens something that could distract some viewers. I grew up too many years ago in a time when the original Star Wars movie graphics were considered cutting edge. Since then, movie graphics have progressed and gotten pretty stunning in some cases. I'm generally able to set it aside if a graphic isn't everything it could be, but some viewers raised on really good modern CGI might see the representation of the alien as, let's just say, somewhat lacking. If you're looking for super well-rendered alien creatures, Nope might disappoint. But if you're looking for a story with a lot of social commentary on relevant themes around what the hell is wrong with global North values, the movie has a lot to say. One other disclaimer I have to make is that art is interpretive. There's what an artist intends to convey, and then there's what happens when an artist puts that vision out into the world. The first time I watched Nope, it was clear to me that it was about white supremacy. But when I looked into it later, I couldn't find anywhere that Peele discussed that being anything he'd intended to convey. Two things can be true at once, though. An artist can create with something in mind, and someone who observes that art later can see something different. And here's the important point. Neither is wrong. They're just different. That's art. I can create a thing that is a perfect analogy of a social system, even if I didn't mean to create it that way. If Peele says, "That's not what I was doing," it doesn't mean he didn't still manage to do it, even if it was unwittingly. My point here is not to claim that what the film does is what Peele intended. I don't speak for him here. I speak for myself, for what I saw. And the movie is a fantastic vehicle for conveying particular social themes. And sometimes an artist doesn't even realize why some things are conveyed in their art. That is, I can actually express ideas about something without even realizing I have those concepts within me. Or maybe they aren't there, and I'm shocked at what someone else sees in what I created. I'm really just saying it's complicated. But my views are my own. Nope is Jordan Peele's third film, following Get Out in 2017 and Us in 2019. It's a unique blend of horror, sci-fi, and western centering on siblings OJ and Emerald Haywood, who run a struggling horse ranch in Agua Dulce, California. After their father's sudden death caused by mysterious falling debris, the siblings realize that they're dealing with something beyond explanation, a UFO lurking in the sky. But as they dig deeper, they discover that the entity, later called Jean Jacket, isn't a spaceship. It's a living, predatory creature that consumes anything that looks directly at it. What makes Nope distinct from a standard UFO story is how it engages with themes beyond just extraterrestrial horror. Instead of little green men or high-tech invaders, Peele gives us a creature that reflects humanity's own obsession with spectacle and control. The film isn't just about survival. It's about reclaiming agency, controlling narratives, and understanding how systems of exploitation function. At its core, Nope is a film about spectacle and commodification, our obsession with looking, capturing, and monetizing what we see. Peele weaves together multiple ideas: spectacle and the demand for proof. The Haywoods are trying to capture undeniable proof of jean jackets' existence, much like how marginalized groups often struggle to prove their own experiences to a skeptical audience. This ties into the way that the Black community in America has historically needed to document injustice, police brutality, systemic racism, because their word alone was never enough. Capitalism and consumption. The film critiques how capitalism commodifies everything, even trauma. Ricky Jupe Park, a former child star, turns his childhood tragedy into a business, profiting off a past horror he barely survived. The UFO itself functions like capitalism, sucking everything up and spitting out what isn't useful. Ironically, some of what it spits back out is actual money, coins, and anything metal. Predation and power. Jean Jacket, the alien creature, isn't just a monster. It's a perfect metaphor for systemic oppression. Like Supremacy in all its forms, it thrives on maintaining its dominance by punishing those who challenge it. OJ learns to navigate its behavior using submission tactics like avoiding eye contact, much like how marginalized people are conditioned to move through oppressive spaces unseen, compliant, not calling attention to themselves, and assimilating. Reclaiming narrative control. From the start, Nope is about erasure. Emerald tells the audience that their ancestor, the black jockey in Edward Muybridge's famous motion study, was Hollywood's first movie star. But history forgot him. The film is about fighting back against that erasure, documenting reality, and taking control of one's own story. But why is Nope more than a horror sci-fi film? What is the layered social commentary? While the film works as a solid horror sci-fi experience, Peele's deeper commentary makes a film worth unpacking. It's not just about an alien threat. It's about the way systems prey on people, the fight to be seen and believed, and the power of storytelling. Peele blends historical injustices with modern anxieties, using genre filmmaking as a vehicle for complex discussions on race, power, and survival. The film challenges the audience. Who controls the story? Who gets to be remembered? And how does power shift when the watched become the watchers? These questions drive the heart of Nope, making it one of Peele's most thought-provoking films to date. Spectacle, surveillance, and power. The need to prove reality. A central tension in Nope is the struggle to capture Jean Jacket on film, to obtain undeniable proof that it exists. This struggle mirrors real-world fights for visibility and validation, particularly for marginalized communities. Whether it's systemic racism, police brutality, or historical erasure, the burden of proof often falls on the oppressed. Without documentation, their experiences are dismissed as paranoia, exaggeration, or outright falsehood. The characters struggle to capture Jean Jacket on film. From the start, OJ and Emerald recognize that seeing Jean Jacket isn't enough. They have to prove it exists. It's not just about survival, it's about controlling the narrative. Without evidence, no one will believe them, and their story will be dismissed or co-opted by someone else. This leads them on a quest for what they call the Oprah shot, a perfect, undeniable image of the creature that will force the world to acknowledge the truth. OJ first tries using his cell phone, but modern technology proves unreliable, just like in real life, where evidence of injustice is often dismissed due to poor quality or lack of context. So they install security cameras, enlisting a Fry's electronic employee, Angel, to help create a surveillance system that allows them to watch Jean Jacket without looking directly at it. This flips the script on surveillance culture, where those being watched take back control. And I'd just like to note here that names seem to play a role in this movie that I haven't fully sussed out. In this case, the name angel evokes clear religious imagery. In Christian theology, angels serve as messengers, guardians, and guides, exactly what Angel does for OJ and Emerald. He's an expert tech, constantly monitoring the sky, the divine realm, watching for signs, warnings, and truth. When everything seems lost, he appears with knowledge and aid, just like an angel coming to a prophet or a hero in crisis. And like biblical angels, he's not the center of the story. He exists to serve and guide the protagonists. Even his conspiracy nerd ancient aliens vibe aligns with angels as divine beings who reveal hidden truths. He's the one keeping surveillance on the skies, acting as the seer, much like how angels are described as watching over humanity from above. Keep that in your back pocket for later in the discussion when we hit other religious symbols and names. For now, though, let's get back to the theme of capturing the alien on film. In a desperate final move, Emerald turns to a hand-crank IMAX camera, emphasizing the need for old-school analog methods that can't be tampered with or erased. The struggle to document Jean Jacket reflects the historical and modern reality of proving injustice. Just as Black Americans have had to rely on body cams and cell phones to expose systemic racism, the Haywoods must produce undeniable proof of their experience or risk being erased from history. Parallels to proving systemic racism. It's invisible until it's documented. Again, intentionally or not, Nope draws a clear parallel between the Haywoods' quest for proof and the way systemic racism operates in society. The need for documentation. Police brutality and racial violence have existed for centuries, but many people only began acknowledging them when video evidence became widespread. The civil rights movement had photos of lynchings and police beatings. Today, there's viral footage of George Floyd's murder and other acts of racial injustice. Without these images, many would deny these realities outright. The gaslighting of marginalized communities. Like Jean Jacket, systemic oppression is always there, but some refuse to believe it exists. People demand proof, and even when proof is provided, they find ways to dismiss or downplay it. OJ and Emerald's experience mirrors that constant battle to be seen, heard, and believed. Weaponized surveillance versus reclaimed surveillance. Surveillance is often used against marginalized people, policing their bodies, actions, and communities. But in Nope, the Haywoods turn surveillance into a tool for self-preservation, much like activists today use cameras to document injustice and shift power dynamics. The Oprah shot and reclaiming narrative control. The term the Oprah shot is more than just a reference to a viral media moment. It symbolizes taking control of the story. If the Haywoods capture Jean Jacket on film first, they get to dictate how the world understands the creature. This is crucial because throughout history, Black contributions and experiences have been erased, misrepresented, or stolen. Basic appropriation. The Haywoods are trying to assert their place in history, something that should have already been secured through their family lineage, but was denied due to historical erasure. Emerald's final act of capturing Jean Jacket on film is an assertion of power. We own this story. We exist. You can't erase us. Emerald's ancestor, the unnamed black jockey in Muybridge's motion study. At the beginning of Nope, Emerald tells a soundstage full of people that her great-great-great-grandfather was the black jockey featured in Edward Muybridge's famous motion study, the first moving picture ever created. Muybridge is often credited as the forefather of cinema, yet the man riding the horse remains unknown. His name was never recorded, and he was a black man erased from film history. Nope uses this as a metaphor for the way Black people have been integral to the creation of culture, film, and media, yet are often left out of historical record. Emerald and OJ's mission isn't just about proving Jean Jacket's existence, it's about reclaiming a legacy that was denied to them. By securing the Oprah shot, they ensure that their family name will be remembered in film history. Nope frames a battle for visibility, truth, and legacy. The Haywoods' fight to document Jean Jacket reflects the larger struggle for the Black community to control their own narratives, to be believed, and to reclaim a history that has too often been stolen or erased. Surveillance and the watched versus the watchers. Throughout Nope, Peele explores the theme of surveillance. Who gets watched, who does the watching, and how power dynamics shift when the observed take control of the narrative. Surveillance is often tied to oppression, control, and spectacle, but it can also be a tool for reclaiming agency. From the Haywoods' quest to film Jean Jacket to Jupe's unsettling acceptance of being watched, the film presents multiple angles on how visibility can be empowering or destructive. Jupe's quote, "We are being surveilled by an alien species I call the viewers." Ricky Jupe Park understands spectacle better than anyone. He's a former child star who survived a horrific tragedy, the Gordy's home massacre. But rather than reckoning with the trauma of being watched, he leans into it. Let me just take a moment to note that Jupe is short for Jupiter, another religious name that invites some interesting religious symbolism later in the film. Jupe sees his own survival as proof that he has a special connection with spectacle, that he can control the gaze of others. He tells his audience at Jupiter's claim, "We are being surveilled by an alien species I call the viewers." This can be read literally, Jean Jacket as a predator constantly watching, and metaphorically, a critique of media consumers who passively observe tragedy and violence for entertainment. Jupe fails to realize that being watched is not the same as being in control, a miscalculation that leads to his demise. Jean Jacket, like the entertainment industry, rewards submission to the spectacle until it devours you. Jupe believes he can tame it, much like he once tamed Gordy with a fist bump. But just like before, he is merely prey, caught in a cycle of exploitation and spectacle. We've hit on some of the point of surveillance and oppression, but with Jupe's strange spectacle, trying to get Jean Jacket to perform for an audience in a controlled way, there's more to consider. Watchers hold the power. Surveillance is rarely neutral. It is most often used by those in power to control those without it. Black communities under constant scrutiny. From excessive policing to workplace monitoring, Black people are disproportionately watched in ways that assume criminality or wrongdoing. The spectacle of Black death. There's a long history of Black suffering being turned into spectacle, from lynching postcards to viral videos of police brutality. Black pain is often consumed as entertainment rather than evidence of injustice. Jean Jacket is the ultimate predatory gaze, a floating, all-seeing entity that devours those who dare to look at it. The only way to survive is to refuse to engage with its gaze. That's OJ's tactic. Or to control the way that it's seen, which is Emerald's final act of capturing it on film. And before we go on, I'm sure there are some listeners who are aching for me to mention and discuss OJ's name. The choice of OJ as the main character's name cannot be overlooked as a layered reference to O.J. Simpson, whose life became an overwhelming media spectacle, just like the Haywoods' struggle to capture the perfect shot of Jean Jacket. Peele cleverly uses the name to invoke the parallels between the commodification of personal tragedy and the way people are turned into spectacles for public consumption. O.J. Simpson's trial in the 1990s became an international media event that blurred the lines between news, entertainment, and public spectacle. His tragic story, the drama surrounding the trial, and the ensuing media circus transformed Simpson into both a symbol of racial injustice and a tabloid fascination. By naming the protagonist O.J., Peele connects the character's personal and familial struggle to the broader system of spectacle, exploitation, and the dehumanization of Black individuals for the sake of entertainment. The tragedy of O.J. Simpson's life, particularly how his trial and public image were hijacked by the media, mirrors the Haywood's quest to capture Jean Jacket. They are striving to control the spectacle that often consumes them, but ultimately they are victims of the same systems that seek to commodify their suffering. In this way, Peele may be critiquing not only the way we exploit individuals for entertainment, but also how those caught up in that spectacle, like O.J. Simpson, are dehumanized and reduced to symbols in the process. By choosing this name, Peele underscores the intersection of fame, exploitation, and tragedy, adding a layer of social commentary that directly challenges the audience to think about the real-life consequences of turning human suffering into spectacle. And while we're on O.J., let's look at O.J. flipping the script by filming trespassing pranksters, turning the surveillance back on the threats. One of the earliest moments where surveillance becomes a theme is when O.J., alone on the ranch, is startled by what appear to be alien creatures. He quickly pulls out his phone to document the intruders before reacting. This instinct to record the encounter rather than engage mirrors the real-world survival strategy of pulling out a camera in moments of potential violence, that is, recording police encounters or racial profiling incidents. When it turns out to be kids playing a prank, the power dynamic shifts. The pranksters who thought they were in control find themselves watched instead. This small moment foreshadows the larger themes of surveillance and control in the film. O.J.'s ability to turn the gaze back on the watchers is a form of resistance. Capitalism, sacrifice, and consumption. Jean Jacket as a metaphor for capitalism and predatory systems. At its core, Nope critiques capitalism's insatiable hunger for spectacle and profit, where people and their stories are consumed, discarded, and repackaged as entertainment. Jean Jacket isn't just an alien threat. It's a fantastic vehicle for representing capitalism itself, an unrelenting, predatory force that devours and exploits everything in its path. It literally grinds people up and spits out loose change, converting people into money. Early we touched on how the alien Jean Jacket doesn't just kill, it consumes. It sucks up bodies, digests them, and spits out whatever it doesn't need, mainly metal objects like coins or keys or trinkets. This gruesome process is a direct metaphor for how capitalism extracts value from people while leaving behind only scraps. The film opens with the aftermath of a freak accident. The Haywood's father is killed by a nickel spat out by Jean Jacket. This moment is symbolic of how capitalism kills indiscriminately, leaving behind only meaningless currency in exchange for lives. The image of people being ground up and reduced to discarded pocket change represents how capitalism chews up workers, artists, and entertainers, spitting them out when they are no longer useful. The entertainment industry, much like Jean Jacket, feeds on people's labor, suffering, and talent, but ultimately it discards them without a second thought. This cycle repeats endlessly, with fresh victims constantly being drawn in. So let's look at Jupe's show, At Jupiter's Claim, sacrificing animals and later humans for spectacle. Jupe's entire business model is built on exploiting spectacle for profit. a clear parallel to the entertainment industry and capitalism at large. He starts by sacrificing horses, selling their bodies to Jean Jacket for the thrill of an exclusive show that he plans to monetize. Eventually, his hubris leads him to unwittingly sacrifice humans, inviting an audience to witness his grand spectacle of controlling Jean Jacket only for all of them to be consumed. This mirrors how capitalism constantly raises the stakes for profit. When one exploitation is no longer profitable, it escalates to something more extreme. Workers, artists, even entire communities are fed into the machine, just as Jupe feeds Jean Jacket victims in exchange for a fleeting moment of power and wealth. Jupe's fate is particularly ironic. He believes he has a special connection to spectacle because he survived the Gordy's Home massacre, but in reality, he was just another commodity waiting to be consumed. His tragedy was turned into a theme park attraction, just as his life would later become fodder for Jean Jacket. And then there's the link between money, territorial behavior, and domination. Capitalism thrives on territorial behavior and the hoarding of resources. Those who control land, labor, and spectacle hold power, while those without it become disposable. Nope explores this through the dynamics between the Haywoods and their ranch. Their land is their legacy, yet they're struggling to hold on to it as economic pressures mount. Their father's death is an omen of how hard it is to survive when capitalism is stacked against you. Also, Jupe and Jupiter's claim. He has land and money, but he doesn't truly own anything. He's still subject to the same predatory system that chewed him up as a child. His attempt to claim power through spectacle backfires, proving that even those who believe that they're in control can still be swallowed whole. Jean Jacket itself is highly territorial, attacking anything that challenges its dominance. This is capitalism in its purest form, an unstoppable force that consumes everything in its domain and destroys anyone who doesn't play by its rules. OJ and Emerald struggle for ownership. Unlike Jupe, they don't seek to exploit Jean Jacket, only to document it and reclaim their family's story. This is a subtle but crucial difference. They don't want to be consumed by the system, but to outmaneuver it. Nope represents Jean Jacket as a living embodiment of capitalism's hunger for dominance, exploitation, and spectacle, a beast that thrives on consumption and leaves destruction in its wake. Only those who understand how to resist its gaze, literally and metaphorically, have a chance of survival. I also wanted to take a minute to look at some clever religious imagery that's tucked into Nope's narrative. So let's briefly look at the role of Jupe as High Priest of Spectacle. Jupe, Ricky Jupe Park, embodies the dangers of believing one can control spectacle and predatory forces. He is not a god, nor the ultimate power in the film. That role belongs to Jean Jacket. Instead, he operates as a high priest, someone who profits off proximity to a greater, more terrifying force without truly understanding its nature. His arc represents how capitalism and the entertainment industry turn trauma into spectacle, feeding on people's suffering while convincing them they are in control. His arrogance and misplaced belief in his own immunity lead not just to his demise, but to the mass consumption of everyone who follows him. Jupe is not the god, but the high priest, profiting off proximity. He's a middleman in the machine of spectacle, not the source of power itself. He does not control Jean Jacket. He feeds it victims in exchange for a fleeting sense of power and relevance. Like a high priest in a cult, he presents himself as the interpreter of a greater force, selling the illusion that he can offer others a glimpse of something divine or terrifying without consequence. This mirrors how people in entertainment, executives, producers, media figures, don't create the spectacle but profit from controlling access to it. They act as intermediaries, exploiting the gaze of others while believing that they are exempt from its consequences. Jupe ultimately becomes a failed gatekeeper, and his attempt to harness spectacle ultimately makes him its victim. And this self-image of being able to control spectacle comes from his trauma with Gordy, which convinces him that he can tame predatory forces. Jupe's tragic backstory is rooted in his childhood trauma on the set of Gordy's home, where he witnessed a chimpanzee actor, Gordy, violently attack and kill cast members. The event is a turning point that shapes how Jupe understands spectacle, power, and survival. He believes that he was spared because of a special connection to predators. Gordy seemed to reach out a fist bump for him instead of attacking him. In reality, Jupe survived by chance, not because he had power, but because he was beneath a table and out of sight, and so he was spared by circumstance. He misunderstands the lesson. Instead of recognizing that spectacle is unpredictable and uncontrollable, he convinces himself that he can harness it. His entire career afterward is built on monetizing his trauma, displaying memorabilia from Gordy's home, and selling curated access to his past horror. He has internalized the capitalist instinct to turn pain into profit. This sets him up for his ultimate downfall. He believes his past survival means that he can control Jean Jacket as well, failing to recognize that just like Gordy, this new force is not something that can be tamed. His arrogance leads to mass consumption, both in capitalism and literally in the film. Jupe's fatal flaw is hubris, the belief that he has learned to control something that is, by its nature, uncontrollable. He invites an audience to witness this big show, selling them the illusion of safety and spectacle, much like how capitalism convinces people they are simply spectators and not part of the system. In doing so, he offers them up as sacrifices, completely unaware that he is leading them and himself straight into the maw of something that doesn't care about their status or intentions. The mass consumption of Jupe and his audience is a metaphor for how capitalism devours those who think they are exempt. He assumed he was orchestrating the show, but in reality, he was just another participant in a machine that consumes everything in its path. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the entertainment industry, capitalism, and spectacle. Those who try to profit off predatory systems often become their victims. In addition to commodification, there are themes of dominance, submissiveness, and the nature of oppression more generally. Maybe this is because capitalism manifests as a structure of oppression, and those lessons are simply able to be more broadly applied with just a little flexibility and perspective. One interesting thing about the film was the whole setting, a horse ranch run by a black family. This is not the normal black community setting for Hollywood, and it lends itself to particular metaphors, and one that caught my attention was that of OJ and the theme of being broke. OJ's character is deeply tied to the theme of being broke, both in a financial sense and in the way that breaking a horse's spirit is necessarily part of its training. This theme plays into the broader ideas of survival, submission, and resistance in Nope. There's a double meaning in that word, and both meanings are relevant in this film, the financial struggles and the breaking of the horse. With regard to financially broke, OJ is struggling to keep his family's horse ranch afloat after his father's death. With dwindling resources, he's forced to sell horses to Jupe, an act that echoes the forced selling of assets, labor, and even one's dignity under financial hardship. With regard to breaking a horse's spirit, OJ is a horse trainer, someone who understands the delicate balance between control and freedom when working with animals. To break a horse means teaching it submission, getting it to accept control without resistance. This metaphor extends to systemic oppression. Marginalized individuals are often expected to submit to power structures or be destroyed by them. Then there's gaze avoidance as a form of submission. OJ survives by understanding the rules of predation, both in nature and society. Jean Jacket attacks when it's looked at directly, much like how predators interpret eye contact as a challenge. OJ instinctively knows this, and throughout the film he keeps his eyes down, a move that is both a horse trainer's tactic and a cultural survival mechanism. This reflects real-world racial dynamics, where avoiding direct eye contact has historically been seen as a means of survival for Black individuals in oppressive environments. And again, I'm not saying Peele intended this. I'm saying it simply exists and was a pattern connection that I made that resonated. But let's look at Jean Jacket as a predator, attacking when challenged and accepting submission. Like a territorial capitalist force, Jean Jacket demands obedience. It allows people to exist as long as they don't challenge its power. OJ's ability to navigate this unspoken rule is what allows him to survive. The final confrontation is significant. Instead of trying to fight Jean Jacket head-on, OJ outsmarts it, understanding its patterns and using them against it rather than submitting entirely. In this way, OJ represents resistance through understanding, showing that sometimes survival isn't about overpowering a system, but about knowing how to navigate it without being consumed. This also creates a lot of parallels when I consider Jean Jacket as white supremacy in action. Nope presents Jean Jacket as a predator that mirrors the behavior of white supremacy, not as an abstract impersonal system, but as something actively sustained by individuals who enforce its power. First, it's not a system, it's individuals perpetuating it as a system. One of the most insidious aspects of white supremacy is how it's often framed as a faceless system, rather than something upheld and enacted by real people. Oppression is not just a system that exists. It's something actively maintained by individuals making choices. Nope draws a parallel here. Jean Jacket is not some vague impersonal force. It is a living entity actively preying on and consuming people. By the end of the film, we understand that it has intelligence, purpose, and agency. White supremacy isn't just an abstract concept. It's individuals in positions of power making choices that maintain that structure. Like white supremacy, Jean Jacket hides in plain sight, camouflaged as an innocuous cloud. Jean Jacket literally blends into the sky, sitting still in the clouds, unnoticed until it's too late. This is a direct parallel to how white supremacy disguises itself as just the way things are, always present but rarely confronted directly. Much like subtle racism and systemic oppression, people only see it when they're directly affected or when someone points it out. Specifically, Jean Jacket doesn't just hide in the clouds, but creates a particular cloud as camouflage. So while it seems to be floating in the sky like any other cloud, a person watching, perceptive to it, will see this cloud is static and consistent. It doesn't actually move or behave like the other clouds. It functions as mundane camouflage. It's artificial, but it's made to look natural. And oppression has taken this form so many times. The natural order is synonymous with supremacy. The natural order of race superiority, of gender superiority. Socially engineer oppression, then convince those within the system it's not an artificial system, but a natural order. And this is where it gets interesting. Confronting it, looking directly at it, triggers violent retaliation. The core rule of survival in Nope is don't look Jean Jacket in the eye, because doing so is a challenge to its dominance. This directly parallels how people in power react when their authority is questioned, particularly when marginalized individuals call out racism or other forms of injustice or oppression. Speaking up about injustice often leads to backlash, whether in the form of job loss, violence, or public discrediting. It reminds me of something I once heard Matt Kennard say in an interview when he was talking about his fellow journalists back when he was operating in more mainstream circles. As he started changing his reporting language and using words like U.S. empire, he started to get pushback on his writing by editors and publishers. After a while, he was pushed out and had to go alternative to report. In talking about this, he noted how most people working in media actually believe they have free speech, but only because they aren't actually saying anything that would be so challenging that they'd lose their platform over it. That is, as long as you're pushing within acceptable limits, you will only get the velvet glove, not the iron fist. But the moment you actually point to it and call it out plainly in a way that puts it in the spotlight so that people can begin to see the problem clearly, that's when you get the iron fist. The hammer comes down and you lose your career. Jean Jacket operates this same way. The people who die are the people willing to see it for what it is. And this means that OJ's careful gaze avoidance isn't just about surviving Jean Jacket. It's also a reference to how people must navigate hostile systems carefully to avoid many diverse forms of punishment. Ironically, killing it requires looking at it. The only way to defeat Jean Jacket is to look at it for what it really is. Not a UFO, but a living, breathing, violent creature. Likewise, the only way to fight white supremacy or other forms of oppression is to call them out directly, exposing the individuals and institutions that keep it alive. Emerald finally does get her Oprah shot. And we'll talk about that in a bit, but it turns out that the final act of capturing the Oprah shot isn't just about getting proof of Jean Jacket. It's about forcing the world to see what has been hiding in plain sight all along. By the end of Nope, Peele delivers a powerful metaphor for how oppression thrives in silence, and how survival and resistance require both outsmarting the system and exposing it for what it truly is. At the beginning of Nope, Peele includes a chilling Bible verse from Nahum 3:6. Quote, "I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle." Unquote. This verse is a powerful critique of spectacle and judgment, tying into the film's larger themes. God's wrath as public humiliation. The verse refers to God's punishment of the Assyrians, turning them into a spectacle for their sins. The dehumanization of those who are watched. Peele flips the script, showing that being turned into a spectacle is its own form of punishment, a fate that Jupe, Gordy, and even Jean Jacket suffer. Then there's modern-day spectacle. The verse also resonates with how society consumes violence, suffering, and trauma as entertainment. Whether it's reality TV, social media, or viral videos, the modern world thrives on turning people into spectacles for public consumption. Peele warns that being at the center of the spectacle, whether as an actor, a victim, or a predator, inevitably leads to destruction. Those who seek to control the gaze, Jupe, or bask in it, Jean Jacket, are ultimately devoured by it. The only way to survive it is to look away, OJ, or reclaim the lens, Emerald. So in conclusion, who is being laid low? Who is Nope critiquing? The exploiters, the profiteers, or the spectators? In Nope, Jordan Peele crafts a layered critique of societal obsession with spectacle, capitalism, and the exploitation of people and animals for entertainment. The film doesn't just criticize one group or facet of society. It challenges the entire system that perpetuates this cycle, with its greedy profiteers, its passive spectators, and the exploited themselves. So let's start with the exploiters and the profiteers, the Jupe archetype. Jupe, the central antagonist who runs Jupiter's claim, is a clear representative of exploitative profiteering. His show is built on the backs of sacrificed animals and later humans, turning violence into entertainment and capitalizing on the spectacle. His behavior speaks directly to the commodification of suffering in our culture, where anything, even human and animal lives, can be reduced to a commodity if there's money to be made from it. Jupe's involvement with Jean Jacket isn't just a business venture, it's his attempt to tame and control a predatory force for profit, symbolizing how capitalism thrives off the exploitation of anything that can be monetized. Next, there's the spectators, complicit in the system. Spectators are just as much a part of the system, even if they don't directly profit from it. They are complicit by their passivity, watching, consuming, and being entertained by the spectacle. The film criticizes passive consumption of violence, tragedy, and exploitation. The audience in the film is willing to let others be sacrificed for their entertainment, just as the broader public often turns a blind eye to the real-world exploitation of marginalized communities for the sake of spectacle, whether through media, culture, or politics. So could Jean Jacket actually be punishing humanity for its obsession with money and spectacle? In a broader sense, Jean Jacket itself becomes a metaphor for the consequences of our obsession with spectacle, capitalism, and unquestioned consumption. The creature, which begins as an enigmatic force in the sky, eventually reveals itself as a predator that actively consumes people, money, and everything in its path to maintain the system of spectacle. Jean Jacket doesn't just take lives for survival, but it is caught in an endless cycle of consumption, much like capitalism and exploitation, where those at the top take more than they need and give nothing back or simply pocket change. Jean Jacket is punishing humanity for its greed, not by exacting revenge in a direct way, but by showing us how our obsession with spectacle, the pursuit of profit, and the willingness to consume without consequence will inevitably lead to a devouring of everything, leaving only destruction behind. And Peele's layered storytelling forces the audience to wrestle with multiple meanings. One of the most striking aspects of Nope is how Peele complicates the narrative by weaving together multiple critiques without ever providing a clear or singular interpretation. He doesn't give us easy answers. Instead, Peele forces the audience to engage with multiple interpretations of the events on screen. Is Jean Jacket a representation of systemic oppression? A metaphor for capitalism and its insatiable hunger? Or perhaps a symbol of humanity's addiction to spectacle? Peele invites viewers to grapple with these layers, asking us to reflect on the things that we consume, the things that we exploit, and the systems we uphold that allow for the perpetuation of violence and dehumanization for profit. The film never resolves these issues neatly, and in doing so, it forces the audience to confront uncomfortable truths about the ways we all participate, knowingly or unknowingly, in these systems of exploitation. Honestly, this was about all I had for an actual breakdown or analysis of what I saw as social messaging in the film. But there were a few things I noticed that were creative decisions that I couldn't quite fit cleanly into the analysis. Just to explain what I mean, Peele is a good filmmaker. And when a good filmmaker lingers over a shot, it's a cue to the audience that there's something significant in what we're looking at. It means, pay attention to what I'm showing you here. Other things may not be as obvious as that, but also require creative choices, such as names of characters. Those names have to be chosen, and there are a few patterns in the names that I saw, but I wasn't sure if those connections were meaningful. Still, I wanted to include some of these observations and thoughts on them, while acknowledging that my views on these observations didn't resonate with me quite as much as the ones I just finished discussing. Maybe think of these as things I wanted to include, didn't feel sure about, and they would otherwise have ended up on a cutting room floor, but I'm including them for pure speculative value. First, the character named Amber. Amber works as a camera operator for the cinematographer Antlers Holst, who is trying to capture footage of Jean Jacket, the alien creature. Amber plays a smaller yet notable role in the film, particularly as someone who is drawn into the spectacle of trying to document the alien. Her name, though seemingly incidental, could also carry some layers of meaning, just as amber is often associated with fossilized tree resin, symbolizing something that's trapped in time or preserved. Her role in the film could represent her capture of these images in time, or it could go deeper, reflecting how individuals are caught in the systems of spectacle and exploitation that Peele critiques in the story. Her willingness to be involved in the dangerous pursuit of Jean Jacket could be seen as a metaphor for how people often become part of a larger spectacle, sometimes unknowingly or out of a sense of ambition or opportunity, without fully understanding the costs or consequences. Though her role isn't as prominent as other characters like OJ and Emerald, she does contribute to the film's themes of documentation and spectacle, as she participates in trying to capture the money shot. So while Amber is not the primary focus of the story, her actions help reflect the larger culture critique Peele is making about fame, profit, and the pursuit of spectacle at any cost. Amber, although technically not a rock, is considered a semi-precious stone, and this struck me because the main woman lead in the film is referred to as Emerald, another gemstone. Again, this could be coincidence, but it's strange that the two women were both named for stones. Emerald, as a semi-precious stone, is known for its rich green color, often associated with wealth, growth, and power. Naming Emerald may have been a clever choice for Peele, given that the character has a significant role in the pursuit of the money shot and the family's desire to secure their place in history. Emerald's name could be seen as a reflection of her desire for recognition, value, and legacy, which contrasts with the historical erasure of Black people in cinema. She represents a reclaiming of that space and making sure her family's contributions are recognized, not just as workers behind the scenes, but as active participants in creating and controlling the narrative. Both names, Amber and Emerald, create a subtle yet powerful contrast between the two women. Emerald as a gem hints at potential and value, while Amber seems to have a sense of being frozen in time, potentially stuck within the system that exploits people for profit and spectacle. Their names underscore their different relationships to the story's themes, Emerald's journey of reclaiming power and Amber's passive role in that dynamic. It could signal a clever way that Peele plays with the ideas of value, history, and agency through seemingly small but meaningful character details. Jupiter's name, the battle for supremacy. Jupe's name is a reference to Jupiter, king of the gods in Roman mythology. It is incredibly significant in the context of the film. Jupiter in mythology is a powerful, authoritative figure often seen as the one who rules over the heavens and has supremacy above all other gods. But Jupe's name is ironic in that he is not the god in the film. He is just a high priest of the spectacle, profiting off the proximity to Jean Jacket, the true power. In a sense, Jupe worships and commodifies the alien, believing that he can tame it or control it, but he ultimately becomes its victim, a tragic offering to the very god he tried to appease. The choice to name him Jupe, referencing Jupiter, is a commentary on how people in positions of power, especially in capitalist exploitive systems, can become so enamored with their own proximity to power that they fail to recognize the threat that's right in front of them. Jupe's tragic flaw is that he doesn't understand the true nature of the beast he's dealing with. He thinks he can control it or at least exploit it for his own benefit, just as he's done with the spectacle of Jupiter's claim. But in the end, he's consumed by it. He's not the one in charge, he's just another sacrifice to the system. Just like the animals and later people he sacrifices for the sake of the show. Jupe's ultimate fate highlights the predatory nature of spectacle and capitalism. He's consumed by the system he helped perpetuate. While he's trying to make himself the center of the spectacle, he's still serving the true God, which is Jean Jacket. Just as those in power often think they're controlling systems like capitalism or oppressive structures, but in reality they too are ultimately consumed by them. His fate also acts as a commentary on exploitation. Those who exploit others for profit can easily become the victims of the very systems they helped create. We already talked about Angel, the messenger, the watcher, the divine helper, so let's move on to Jean Jacket, the Old Testament god, wrathful deity. Let's look at this name and everything it could represent in this film. In Nope, the name Jean Jacket carries multiple layers of meaning, tying into themes of domestication, control, spectacle, and survival. Here's the breakdown. Jean Jacket as a callback to M's childhood trauma. Jean Jacket was originally the name of the horse Emerald, or M, was supposed to train, but was denied the opportunity by her father. By naming the alien entity Jean Jacket, M is reclaiming the moment, symbolically taking back control over something wild that others dismissed her role in. It also underscores the film's recurring theme of exploitation, as she wasn't given agency over the horse, just as the humans in the story keep trying to control the forces beyond them. Jean Jacket as the beast that cannot be tamed. The alien itself acts like a wild animal, predatory, territorial, and capable of destruction when people try to turn it into a spectacle. Naming it like a horse or a pet is ironic because humans assume they can control forces they don't fully understand, just like the attempt to tame Gordy and the exploitation of horses for Hollywood. This reinforces Nope's warning. Trying to break nature for entertainment will always backfire. Jean Jacket and the cycle of exploitation. Jupe tries to train Jean Jacket. He believes his experience with Gordy means he has a special bond with predators. This hubris leads to his downfall, mirroring the spectacle-driven mindset of Hollywood, where people believe that they can profit off anything without consequence. The name itself represents the illusion of control. It's a reminder that just because humans name something, it doesn't mean they own it. Jean Jacket as a reclaimed symbol for M and OJ. Unlike Jupe, OJ treats Jean Jacket like an animal, not a showpiece, observing its behavior, respecting its nature, and adapting accordingly. M finally defeats it in the climax, not by overpowering it, but by using the same tools Spectacle uses against nature, baiting it with an inflatable, over-the-top image of Jupe with his theme park balloon. In the end, M earns her Jean Jacket moment when she proves that she can handle something massive and uncontrollable even though the world didn't give her that chance before. The final takeaway is that the name Jean Jacket is a perfect encapsulation of Nope's themes: the arrogance of believing nature can be trained, the consequences of turning living beings into entertainment, the power of reclaiming your own narrative. It's a small name for something massive, just like how people underestimate forces far bigger than them until it's too late. There were only a few other things that I noticed that struck me as something worth mentioning that I didn't quite understand. One of those things was that I noticed that I can't actually explain that in addition to a coin lodged in the brain of OJ and Emerald's father, which was mentioned earlier, there was a focus on a key being similarly lodged in a horse's ass. I get the coin in the brain metaphor. I'm less clear on the key and the horse's ass. So if anyone has ideas on that, if that struck you and it meant something, feel free to drop a comment because I would love to hear it. I also found it interesting that the Gordy incident, when the chimpanzee massacred actors on the set of the sitcom, it was triggered by a burst balloon. Interestingly, Jean Jacket is finally taken out by a huge balloon of Jupe, believing that it's being stared at and trying to consume the balloon. Balloons represent pressure, deflation, bursting, and it's hard to ignore that the metaphorical beast was unleashed by a balloon at the beginning of the film, but the larger beast was subdued by a balloon at the end. Make of that what you will. Final thoughts on why I appreciate Nope. Jordan Peele's Nope stands out as one of his most ambitious and complex works due to its ability to weave together a tapestry of genre conventions, social commentary, and cultural critique. At its core, Nope is more than a horror or sci-fi film. It's a bold exploration of the systems that govern how we see, how we consume, and how we profit from the suffering of others. Peele not only delivers a compelling narrative about alien encounters and the struggle to capture footage of the supernatural, but also invites viewers to consider the forces at play beneath the surface, specifically how those forces exploit and erase marginalized communities. The fact that Peele seamlessly blends entertainment with critical social analysis elevates Nope to something far beyond its genre. It becomes a multi-layered film that demands the audience engage with tough questions about capitalism, spectacle, oppression, and the human capacity for cruelty. Unlike his previous works, Nope shifts focus slightly by pointing the lens outward, examining not just personal trauma, but the systemic forces that affect and shape individual lives. This marks an evolution in Peele's filmmaking, moving from a more internal, character-driven critique to a broader societal examination. In this sense, Nope is Peele's most daring, as it challenges the very framework of our entertainment-driven culture, and it urges us to question the systems that make spectacle profitable at the expense of real lives. If you haven't seen it, and it sounds like something you might enjoy, I would encourage you to watch it. If you have seen it and you notice some of these things or others, drop me a line in comments and let me know, because I would be very curious. That's it for this episode of At Home in My Head, exploring experience and meaning in individuals and the broader society. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these talks, and in the meantime, stay safe, be well, and never stop exploring.